Well, my name's Dwayne Aikens, Oakland native. I've been an educator, community organizer in Oakland since 2005 when Hurricane Katrina brought me back to Oakland after I graduated from college. I was actually working as a pretty much a marketing and advertisement person for Offline magazine, New Orleans Black. And I studied psychology, minor in special education. And I was like, I am not going to work in education. I'm going to go into the business space. I was doing that, but I feel like God knows your purpose, and they brought me back home. I got a job teaching physical education at a SEND school. That led me to starting a young men's group. Being a Oakland native, a graduate of Oakland Tech, E. Morse Cox, Amherst, I realized that while going to historical Black college, and that my English and math skills were not up to par. And those kids in the South, they were running laps around us from Oakland. My graduating class in 2000, five of us came from Oakland Tech. I'm the only one who graduated from Xavier University of Louisiana out of that group of young people. And what I realized by working in the Oakland Unified School District with No Child Left Behind Act coming in place, that even though my English and math skills weren't all the way together, our social skills and our life skill programs and enrichment programs were present. So I'm running pretty much today because I believe it's time for me to step up. I put in the work. My young people, my families are asking me to do something and to get a little more involved other than just the community programming. I think I have something to offer when it comes to public policy.
Thank you. Our next question, as a board member, how will you improve academic outcomes for students?
I think as a board member, the first thing that we have to do is we have to be a little more hands-on as a board member. I was told that you should just stick to policy. You shouldn't really go into the schools and push in and do that type of work. I don't want to tell or micromanage principals or teachers or anybody that's on campus. But as a board member, I want to partner with them to see what do they feel the needs are, doing a real strong succession planning meeting with the teams out there. But I feel like our PTAs is the starting point. If we empower the parents to get engaged in the schools and to participate, and as well as expand the scope of work from PTAs to communities. You have members that stay near schools in District 3 that don't have kids, but they want to participate in what's going on the campus. And if OUSD going to say that these schools are community schools, we need to get back to what does a community school look like. When some of the people that mentored me in this field, when they started the community schools work, I was around. If we want to get back to that, we really need to make these places open. In West Oakland, District 3, a lot of the parks are not, you can't play there. Kids can't play there on the weekend, but the schools, they're nice. So how do we partner with with community members, parents to get these doors open so our kids can have a safe place to go on the weekend and not just treat them like, well, if we open up the doors in the community, that these kids go tear it up and they're not, and that sends a message like you're not good enough for the space. We have to open up those doors. We have to make the schools welcoming. We have to allow these kids to navigate around the campus. And it starts with trust and building character. So how do we trickle that message down from the school board to the superintendent, to the principals, to the staff, to the parents, to the kids? We all have to do one thing.
Thank you. What is your personal history with labor unions? And as a board member, how would you engage with union contract negotiations and with work actions such as strikes?
Well, so personally, since I started my own nonprofit and I'm not protected by a union, I've always been an educational contractor, so a sub partner to school districts. So I have not really had to participate in any of the strikes. Um, the only union that I have participated in, and that's because I take care of my mom. She's disabled, so I'm an SEIU member. I really don't participate too much in the different things that's going on. The most I did was do some phone calls to encourage people to vote for the increased wages for individuals that do IHSS. Now, I'm a strong component that we should be advocating for things that we care about. When I looked at you guys' website and seen the actual salaries that teachers make, it made me cry. It made me feel like, what more can we do as individuals, leaders, to support our teachers so that they won't strike, so they feel good about work and that they're able to live in the neighborhood in which they work. Like, I'm fortunate enough, I can walk to work. I can walk to my office. I'm like, everybody should be able to have that feeling. So I'm like, what I would like is for our educators to really partner with the parents on their campus a little bit more. Like, when we see schools striking, we see them pushing the parents out there, getting the parents involved. But I want to know when my child is being disobedient at school. I want to know when my child can't read. So put that same energy into when you're about to strike, doing that customer service.
Thank you.
You're on mute.
Yeah, took me a second there. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What role should unions play in creating district policy? As a board member, how would you maintain collaborative relationships with OEA and other unions?
I love succession planning. So I have an MBA. So I love succession planning. I feel like in order to have any kind of healthy ecosystem, you need different perspectives and personalities there. But I think everybody needs to come to the table. What does this union want? What does this body want? What does the superintendent want? What does teachers want? What does the kids want? What does the families want? And then what are those of us that are the support systems that help keep the glue to OUSD together? What do we want? Then from there, you look at the phase plan. What's trending amongst all these groups? And then you put that together and you say, okay, here's the phase plan moving forward. This seems to be everyone's critical. Everybody's critical thing that they need. So you start there and then you work your way through it. I recognize that there's things that I might not be privy to because I'm not a school board member yet. I'm not a teacher. I'm in the support system. I'm a subcontractor with the district. So there's things that I may see differently through my lens right now that will change when I get elected. So I'm open to always growing. One of the biggest lessons I learned was when I was on the board of directors for the Oakland Parks and Rec Advisory Commission, me being such a grassroots type of person that was organizing cleanups, former board member, Keep Oakland Beautiful, I had to learn how to take off my community hat and wear a policy lens and make difficult decisions, even if sometimes those decisions weren't popular. So just collaborative learning is most important in succession planning in order to reach a consensus. And everybody's not going to get what they want.
Thank you. Will you commit to rejecting donations, endorsements, and support from privatization-linked organizations such as Families in Action and the California Charter School Association, for-profit corporate entities, police or prison unions, or Israeli lobbying groups? Will you publicly request that any of these groups cease campaign activities such as mailers or canvassing, et cetera, on your behalf?
So that's twofold. So as a business person, I get paid sometimes to do public speaking and stuff like that. So if I'm wearing my Dwayne Aikens businessman hat, I work I work with everybody. If they want me to come lead a workshop or do something like that, because that's how I take care of myself. Now, if it's for something pertaining to the Oakland Unified School District, I'm not going to take funding from things that I am anti against, and I'm not going to be purchased by anybody. My community members are asking me to run, and so those are the individuals that I'm looking to push me over the hump. I believe in doing the work. I got kids that I've been working with since 2005 that are graduates of Oakland Unified School District. I have one young lady that just graduated from Smith College, E. Morris Coxwell, Reach Academy alum, one of the first kids in my leadership program. And she sent me a message on LinkedIn saying, Mr. Aikens, I'm graduating from college and I'm about to go to Johns Hopkins or Columbia and study nonprofit business management. I got two of my kids that went to Xavier University of Louisiana that graduated. I'm about to work in the service of my community. I really personally don't think that I need to be purchased by the lobby to get the votes that I need to win District 3. I'm in this race because I'm confident my family, my friends, my support system told me it's time for you to step it up and run, and we want to see you run.
Thank you. If you were responsible for hiring a new superintendent, what qualities would you look for in candidates? What should the relationship be between the board and the superintendent?
That's a good question. I would look for somebody that's very transparent. I love transparency. I would look for someone that's going to be in the field, getting those experiences with the teachers, have a lot of not just classroom and curriculum development design, but also behavior modification. Somebody that can be very relatable to the community. And when we use the word relatable, I think we often sometimes think that that just means that you have to be Black or brown in order to work in Oakland. But that means you have to understand the community in which you're going to serve. In order to work in Oakland, in a diverse place like this, you have to be open to working with everything under the multicultural pot. I would look for somebody with those strong things. I would look for somebody that is strong enough to disagree with the board. I think that I don't know what their relationship looks like now, but I would hope that the relationship between, I would hope that the school board is listening to the superintendent and then advising the superintendent, because the superintendent, they have to be there. And so I look at it as like, we're supporting our executive director be successful. So they have to have some continuity in that relationship and not feel like they're being micromanaged by the board, but they have to have some freedom and some autonomy to be able to be a successful school board member. I mean, superintendent, sorry about that.
Thank you. Do you commit to voting against any school closures and special education program closures? And other than closures, what are some specific ways that you can respond to possible funding shortfalls in the budget?
So I can't commit to voting against that. What I can commit to is not closing any special education programs down. I think that I probably should have had special education when it came to English language arts early in elementary. I couldn't spell until probably like the 7th grade. So, and pretty much the way that I got good at spelling, my grandmother, who only had an 8th grade reading capabilities, pretty much she set me at the table and was like, just keep trying. You can do this. And eventually just repetition, practice. Mr. Scott, the former principal at Castlemont, put me in poetry, making me stay after school. And once I started being able to do English and read and spell, I stopped getting suspended from school. I think special education is needed, especially after the pandemic, because it's a broad scope, probably too long. This probably be like a podcast if we talked about the needs of special education. But we definitely need special education programs. Now, when it comes to buildings and assets, we have to be mindful of which schools we are closing. And if we're going to close a school, what are we going to do for that community that's going to lose this educational hub? So, for example, when they was doing the thing, I don't know if they closed it or not, but when they was going to close Parker, okay, yeah, we got other elementaries in the walking distance, but what are you going to do for Parker? Could that be an expanded learning hub? Could that be a community resource hub that does all of these different things to still support the community? Could that be a place where parents that was going to Parker and they might have to go to Reach? Do we have shuttles and vans that's going to take those kids to Reach and bring them back to their neighborhood school? So we have to be mindful how we're closing, but we have to have a real dialogue about the amount of kids that are in OUSD and what we're doing to those spaces. We just can't close schools down without having a full plan in place because we're reacting.
Thank you. What do you believe the future should look like for charter schools in Oakland? And specifically, what are your thoughts on extending property leases, sharing space on OUSD campuses through Prop 39, and transitioning charter schools to district-run schools?
Yeah, so with the Prop 39 part, like, I feel like all schools, based on reading it, I think that all schools should be treated equally. So if I'm in the Flatlands to the Hill schools to North Oakland, all of these schools should feel like the Oakland Unified School District. It should be one note. Funding should be adequately spent. Majority of the dollars shouldn't go up the hill to fix that green pasture, and then the green pasture at Reach Academy don't look great. It needs to have some continuity. It's kind of disheartening to see so many charters taking over a lot of the public school sites, and like, okay, how can we collaborate a little bit better? We recognize that charter's not going anywhere, independent charter's not going anywhere, public schools not going anywhere, but how do we collaborate? I think there's conversations need to be had, and maybe some pilot studies that need to go on. One of those being that I think public schools have the most resources, especially like what we was talking about earlier, for like the special needs and all of these different things that sometimes charters don't have the tools for. So in a perfect world, why would you put two elementaries on the same campus? For example, Reach Academy and Cox Academy, whereas you could have turned Reach Academy into a developmental learning hub, and the experiment for charter could have been on Amherst, to where it's more so you have your regular public school teachers teaching English, math, and history and stuff like that. And then you have specialty organizations that are some of the charters that want to specialize in certain things, doing those things, and you're doing some life skill stuff in there. And then you pump them out into, like when I was in school, the 6 main big schools, and you had magnets there that were career-based. So it's creative ways to get around it. We just got to find a healthy way to collaborate, but I think it's room to coexist.
Thank you. And your last question is just a chance to add any closing remarks if you'd like to.
Yeah, so I'm running for school board for District 3. I'm getting used to saying that. I'm excited about growing, learning, expanding thought in this space. I'm an open book. If you have any questions for me, want to reach out, want to get to know me a little bit more, those 2 minutes are like rapid fire. They went by fast. So I know I probably put some trigger words out there, and that are good trigger words to make you want to learn more and have a deeper dialogue. And I definitely would love to also meet some of you all and interview you all to hear your perspective and take notes about your needs and wants, because I'm running pretty much as a community guy that does nonprofit community work, education work my whole life. And I'm just excited. I'm excited to be here. I'm smiling. I'm feeling good. We go rock a park today, hang out, have some ice cream, and just enjoy this Friday. Looking forward to meeting you guys in person. And if any of y'all want to volunteer on my campaign, feel free.